Imagine a god who sees everything, not with human eyes, but with the piercing gaze of a falcon. A god of death, not with a terrifying face, but the calm, watchful head of a jackal. A goddess of love, beauty, and protection, wearing the face of a cat. Why did the ancient Egyptians imagine their gods this way? Were these gods once animals? Were the animals sacred messengers? Or was there something much deeper, something psychological, spiritual, and terrifyingly intelligent behind these animal-headed gods? Tonight we step into the deserts of ancient Egypt to uncover why the gods wore the faces of beasts and what that tells us about how the Egyptians understood life, death, and the universe itself. To understand Egyptian gods, we must first forget how we imagine gods today. In modern thinking, gods often look like idealized humans, perfect faces, perfect bodies, emotions just like ours. But the ancient Egyptians did not believe gods were simply humans with power. To them, gods were forces. They were not personalities alone. They were principles of reality: order, chaos, life, death, fertility, destruction, time. And humans were only one small part of that reality. Animals, on the other hand, were closer to nature's raw truth. A falcon didn't hesitate. A lion didn't question. A crocodile didn't moralize. They acted according to pure instinct, perfectly aligned with cosmic forces. To the Egyptians, this made animals closer to the divine in certain ways than humans. When we see Egyptian gods with animal heads and human bodies, we often think they are hybrids, half human, half animal. But that's not how Egyptians saw them. The human body represented conscious action, the ability to rule, to build, to judge, to create civilization. The animal head represented pure power, instinct, perception, speed, strength, protection, or destruction. Together, they formed a complete divine being, not confused, not monstrous, but perfectly balanced. Egyptian religion was deeply symbolic. They didn't ask, "What does this god look like?" They asked, "What does this god do?" Take Horus, the falcon-headed god. Falcons fly higher than any other creature the Egyptians knew. They see prey from impossible distances. They strike with absolute precision. So Horus became the god of the sky, kingship, and divine vision. The message was clear. The pharaoh rules Egypt as Horus rules the sky, seeing all, watching all, protecting order from above. Horus didn't resemble a falcon. He was what a falcon represented. Now consider Anubis, the jackal-headed god of mummification and the afterlife. Jackals were often seen roaming cemeteries and desert burial grounds. They were silent, watchful, always present where death lingered. Instead of fearing them, Egyptians transformed that fear into meaning. Anubis did not bring death. He guarded the dead. The jackal's head symbolized vigilance, protection, and guidance through dangerous territory. Death to the Egyptians was not an end. It was a journey. And who better to guide souls through darkness than a creature that thrived between worlds, between village and desert, life and decay. Each animal represented a specialized cosmic skill. Cats hunted chaos, snakes, rats, darkness itself. So Bastet, the cat-headed goddess, became a protector of homes, fertility, and joy. Crocodiles were unstoppable, ancient, and terrifying. So Sobek embodied raw strength, military power, and the dangerous fertility of the Nile. Ibises were patient, precise, and methodical, matching Thoth, god of wisdom, writing, time, and calculation. This wasn't superstition. It was observation. The Egyptians watched nature closely. They believed the gods revealed themselves through behavior, not appearance. Unlike later religions that separated gods from the natural world, Egyptian gods lived inside it. The sun wasn't created by a god. The sun was a god. The Nile didn't belong to a god. The Nile was divine. Animals, plants, storms, stars, all were expressions of sacred order. So when Egyptians painted gods with animal heads, they weren't saying, "Gods look like animals." They were saying, nature itself is divine.
Hail to the gods, guardians of the two lands.
If animals were so
May your
sacred,
favor
why not
shine
depict
upon
gods as full animals? Because animals lacked one thing: moral responsibility. Animals acted perfectly, but unconsciously. Humans could choose. The human body symbolized responsibility, law, judgment, and ritual. That's why gods judge souls. That's why they demanded balance, ma'at, cosmic order. Animal head, instinctive power. Human body, conscious control. Together, they formed the ideal ruler of the
To
universe.
sacred Simbeth, the memory.
Some animal-headed gods were meant to be frightening, and that was intentional. The Egyptians did not believe gods should be comforting. They believed gods should be respected. A crocodile god, a lioness goddess of war, a serpent of chaos threatening the sun. Fear reminded humans of their place in the cosmic order. The gods were not human friends. They were cosmic truths. Here is something modern psychology only realized thousands of years later. Humans understand complex ideas better through symbols. An animal head instantly communicates meaning faster than words. A falcon says vision, dominance, sky. A jackal says death, guardianship, transition. A cat says protection, grace, hidden danger. The Egyptians built a visual language of belief. Their gods were not abstract ideas. They were unforgettable images burned into the mind. In Egyptian mythology, there was no hard line between human and animal life, and death nature, and divinity. Everything flowed together. That's why their gods look strange to us. Because we live in a world of separation. They lived in a world of connection. So why did Egyptian gods have animal heads? Not because they worshipped animals, not because they lacked imagination, and not because they believed gods were beasts, but because they believed truth lives in symbols, power lives in nature, and divinity wears many faces. The animal head was not a mask. It was a message, a reminder that before humans built cities, before we wrote laws, before we named the gods, nature was already divine. And perhaps the real question isn't why Egyptian gods had animal heads, but why somewhere deep inside us those ancient images still feel powerful, still familiar, still alive. In the next story, we will explore which Egyptian god was feared even by other gods, and why chaos itself was considered necessary for creation. Until then, listen carefully. The gods are still speaking.